I was ill. I'm a patient, and I was allergic to a lot of things. I was anorexic, and I had terrible nightmares and a lot of stuff going on. They gave me pills and pills, and I got worse and worse. And it turned out I was allergic to the pills. And so when I found the medical marijuana movement, it was like this. I knew I liked pot. I had always liked pot. The doctors I was seeing made me not use pot because they thought part of my illness was marijuana addiction. And what they were giving me was making me much worse. And so when I found the medical marijuana movement, I found Dennis Perone, Dr. Todd McUrea, who was my doctor for 10 years, said, well, get Prozac. You're allergic to ivory soap. You're probably allergic to all these pills too. And I was very, very allergic to everything. And he took me off of all the pills and put me on macrobiotic brown rice and cannabis, and then brown organic brownies, nice and the brownies I finally were able to sleep. I was finally able to stop throwing up, and I was able to gain weight, and I stabilized, and the nightmares, and just like this magic bullet. And I was eating 3 brownies a day because I was I had these terrible nightmares, and I couldn't sleep, hadn't slept for years and stuff, and it stabilized. 9 a.m., 2 in the afternoon, and 7 o'clock at night, I would eat a brownie. And it would stabilize me, and I was able to function. And I'm a nice kid and stuff, and so Dennis Perone, the only place you get the brownies was in San Francisco with Dennis Perone's place. He opened up the first Compassion Club in all history, and they invited me there, and Dr. Todd took me in as a patient there. And after just a few months, I stabilized by having regular access. And Dennis asked me to come and help him at the club because he needed some nice people to talk to a whole bunch of sick people. And I'm not too scary, you know. And so once I started working for Dennis, I was working 1 day a week. I hadn't been able to work in years. And then I was working 3 days a week, and then I was working 5 days a week, and then I was working every single day because we had this huge crisis with the AIDS patients in San Francisco. And when I stepped in 91, out of the 40,000 infected 2 years previously, they discovered 25,000 had died in less than 2 years in San Francisco. They were laying down and dying in the streets when Dennis came in and started giving them pot, and they would not die. And what do? You give them pot. You know, what do? So there's this terrible crisis of epidemic, and 25,000 had died in less than 2 years, and we were in the heart of it, in the Castro, and when Dennis would give away marijuana to stop them from dying, and that's what we had to do. We had to do it. You know, you have to do everything to save your people. And Dennis is an ex-Marine, and that's what a Marine does. They save their people, you know. So we learned how to sneak brownies into every hospital. You know, it was very dangerous and it was very scary. But Dennis, bless his heart, he was very inspiring. And Dennis was Harvey Milk's lover, and he was the widower for the whole community when we lost Milk, and so he really had a lot of special power and respect in the community, and medical marijuana definitely stopped them, slowed them down from dying. We couldn't save people, but we could slow it down. And they came up with the retrovirals, and they found all this stuff. It was a stunning crisis. And I forgot about my own personal illness in the midst of this battlefield. We were on the battlefront. And because Dennis was so well connected, he would get a phone call if the police were going to be cruising by. So we'd sort of close the shades for a minute. You know, it was kind of upstairs. You know, and we closed the gate and close the door, and they'd drive by. They would open the door. We were all smoking away there on the upper floor. It was all over the town, you know. But they weren't dying. They'd stopped dying. So. I did 6,000 intakes over 4 years for Dennis Perone as an intake counselor in the back, and it was an astounding scene. In 1994, I'd been there for 3 years, and I was stable with medical marijuana, and also was just this crisis was going on with and then we got the word that they were going to come and arrest us all because they had to. It was just we had thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming to this little place upstairs, and we had to carry the wheelchair people up, and then put them in a wheelchair to get them to the medical cannabis, and they would smoke there. Then we had to carry them back down the stairs. So there was these two big guys that would just lock arms and just like a chair, and then another third one behind it to stabilize and get them up and down the stairs. That locking arms and holding them to bring them up and down the stairs. You know, so 99.4. I mean, I've been working there 3 years. This is before 215. It's terribly dangerous, terribly illegal, and we have this crisis, and the drug war is amping up. You know, obviously they're hauling off AIDS patients for medical marijuana. We're providing it. They're hauling them off. We do these protests. It's getting pretty intense, you know. Dennis gets the call from City Hall. They're coming, Dennis. You know, they're coming tomorrow. So he calls all the acolytes, and we all have to go to San Francisco, you know. So we're all sitting around the table going, do we have to go to jail tomorrow, Dennis? You know? And he gave us this, are you men or are you mice lecture? Well, I guess I'm not a mouse, Dennis. so I got on the bus that next day, and I brought my extra pair of glasses because you can't have contact lenses in jail. And got off the bus, and I go, man, I'm going to go to jail today. I'm just, you know, man, I'm going to go to jail today. Oh, man, we're going to go to jail today. Get off the bus, turn the corner, and you can see down the hill. And it's about 2 long blocks to the corner where Church Street and the, you know, right there. And there's people, locked arms, all the way around the building, starting to come up the block. Hundreds of people. And here it is, 8 o'clock in the morning. You know? Hundreds of people already in the streets, locking elbows around the building. Right? And I started walking closer, and they were locked arms all the way up the stairs. You know? And so I walked closer, and they all started to cheer because I'm one of the acolytes, right? And then they unlocked arms to let me upstairs, right? And both sides of the stairs had patients, locked arms. They passed and let me up the stairs, and then in the middle of the club upstairs, there's candles and the rest of the acolytes and Dennis Perone, and we were surrounded by 2 circles of linked arm patients, all AIDS patients, twice around us. Two down columns down the steps, all the way around the building. Then it was all the way around the church. Then it was all the way around the city block. Okay? And they stood with us for 8 hours. 8 hours we were in there crying and praying, scared to death. And the big white trucks come up and look at everybody. Drive away. Once. We all start to cheer. Right? We're crying. They're crying. I still cry now. It was so scary. I'll never forget it. April 15th, 1994. And the big white van, there's 2 big white vans come by this time. They stop. They drive away. Then there's the guy with the big camera. That's a police camera. It's not the media, right? And we're calling the media, and then the media is starting to show up, right? So the police camera shows up. The Channel 2 and Channel 5 and Channel 7 show up. You know, drive away.